Do it again.
Okay.
So handmade. Handmade's like the one's like one worker have to handle all the progress, each step of it. So he actually can make it into a family business, and like it's also quite relative to his own reputation. Because if he's really bad at it, people will know and stop buying from him, and that's it. And then for I'm a machine made, like each of the workers is like handling one progress.
Yeah. I mean, with the handmade, I think it's very important all the process of the creation of the actual either artwork or product. Could be from a chair to an actual like piece of art or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very important all that process because it connects the artist to, his work or her work. And we can see it a lot even nowadays. Everything that is handmade, the value that it has to it. As you said, if we take examples of like Prada, that they still do it handmade, and the value that it has is not just because it's Prada, but also because all the process behind it. Yeah, exactly. It could be considered an artwork.
I mean, just the time. I'm like if you're comparing the machine made and handmade, I'm like the time and the actual work you put into that product.
Yeah.
I'm like handmade's huge.
Yeah.
The time you put in is huge.
Yeah, I feel like everything that is going to be like machine made, it's because it's answering to a necessity. That's something that the society in general is asking for, and it could even become a commodity in a way. So
especially especially right now that in some factories, like some of them start metal making, people just using robots to handle all the progress. That's just make it even less, work put into it. So relatively, I think people right now it's more.
And it's also like I feel like everything that is machine made, it takes out a lot of like people's jobs because they're being replaced by a machine, right? It's like Willy Wonka.
I love the movie.
The toothpaste thing that the dad was supposed to like do the toothpaste, like the tap, supposed to like put it on the tube or whatever. And then this machine just came and was like, oh, I'm doing it for you. And it was like way faster, and you can produce probably thousands more in a day that you can produce in an hour. So it's insane how I think like when the Industrial Revolution came.
I'm like if we not in that place, we probably some of the people probably can't imagine what kind of feeling is that. But I'm like if I'm working in the factory right now, but some days my manager just came in and told me, alright, you've been fired, you're gonna be replaced by a machine. So they're gonna be like, oh my god, what's happening right now?
And that's the thing, like everyone is replaceable.
Yeah.
But I do think like the craftsmanship when things are handmade. You cannot teach a machine because I feel like when you're doing this beautiful artwork where you put yourself in, it also has feeling to it and has a meaning. Where in the mass production area, everything's kind of like cold. It's not connected. It's just this is for everyone and everyone can have it, and it can become a trend. It can become a commodity. So it's like if we answer the question which one is more beautiful. I mean, I think the handmade is definitely more beautiful. Again, probably the product of the craftsmanship, it's not actually beautiful, but just like the process of it, like how it started, how it ended, how everything that involved. Like it takes a part of the artist in the artwork, where in mass production.
Sorry, I think I'm getting a lot of signs from. But no, the other things I think is like the adaptation of the product. People that they actually like if you ordering something from handmade.
Yeah.
So mostly like handmade stuff like custom thing, right? You have to wait for it. So people will actually have a lot of expect to the thing they're gonna buy. Instead of like you right now, I want to buy an iPad, I can just walk in the store and get it right away. But I'm like, that's the thing that Industrial Revolution changed people. How Industrial Revolution changed people's life. Because like nowadays you can get everything so easy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
People just like I just feel like people got kind of like spoiled.
Yeah,
like that kind of way.
Fair.
Yeah, and even like I'm like Amazon. I'm like even you can get if you get Amazon Prime, you probably if you live in the state, you probably can get it next day.
Yeah.
This is how I'm back in time. You have to wait for it like for weeks.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think definitely we kind of become spoiled just by the fact that we know we can have it instantly.
Yeah.
But again, like how many products that we get like instantly or that, you know, or have been mass produced actually when it comes to like quality of it, they're actually pretty bad. And then we're like, well, whatever, it's replaceable. I can just buy another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like whatever. But yeah, like I think we can divide it like in pros and cons of
just
things handmade, things machine made.
Them.
Yeah.
And later we can just based on that. I'm like we can write down what our own feeling is first, and then we can just go down the street and do something real about it.
Yeah.
And ask people like we can write down their opinion as well. And probably asking like or probably just starting like online survey, like asking people like which one you prefer, why. No. But online interview is much more interesting, but you can't find 100 people. The database is not. It's gonna be very small if you just do it. So. But
yeah, I feel like it's again if we just do like a pros and cons as you said, like just everything that is machine made, mass produced, it's cheap. You're gonna get it probably straight away, and if you break it, you can just replace it with the same thing. Because there's millions of that one product. When you have like something handmade, of course it's gonna like cost production is going to be way higher because probably it's only one person making it. It's probably gonna last a long time. If we talk about, for example, like Dr. Martens, like the boots, the handmade process on them is very important. And I mean, they're gonna pay like what, $500 for one pair, but they're gonna last you 15 years.
Yes.
So it's just an investment. Where mass produce is just.
Do you know in Japan there's a lot of people like keep collecting all this like handmade secondhand stuff.
Oh really?
That was beautiful, and it's very cheap in Japan as
well.
That's why I always want to fly to Japan and do some shopping. And I just think about this one thing like make handmade so special. It's like there's always some mistake with them.
Yeah, they're always
like,
unique.
Yes, there's like once you finish it, that's the piece. That's the only piece you can have. But instead of like machine made, it's like is that all the same? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. Fair enough. Even if they want to make the same thing, it's never gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Because your hand is involved in it. Because you shake. Because you don't have the same color. I don't know, whatever. It's never gonna be the same. So the fact that you have a piece that is unique, it's just amazing. And that's why like collectors kind of.
And that's also human nature, to be special.
No, yeah, fair enough. And how do you think like things that are handmade or mass produced influence like in your area of study, like in spatial design? How do you think that influences?
Design. Well, so if just doing spatial design, I think like for example, like this is common.
Yeah.
So some of the people just prefer like especially in Australia, I've seen a lot of people doing that because like they actually prefer like doing all the decoration themselves. Instead of like if you just find the problems like all the contractors probably decorate for you, and it looks all the same in each of the apartment in the building.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference, like especially in spatial design. Some of the people just like find it like it's better to design something themselves and make them themselves, because like that's the place you actually can feel like I built this place from craft.
Yeah.
And that's the place you actually can call home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling like. And if that's for like apartment designing, but if you're just talking about like a space designing, it's also quite different. If you go to NGV, well, if you're walking into like each of the demonstration room, if it's all the same, but just keep changing all the hours on it, it's like there's no point you going to that museum.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I feel like at least that's interesting for special. I feel like for industrial, like if I'm saying like handmade is more beautiful, but I'm saying industrial design, which is basically based on mass production most of the times.
Yeah.
It's like if I were contradicting myself, because it's like if I were saying, so what I'll be designing in the future, would that be beautiful? Or it's actually not beautiful just by the fact that it's mass produced, because I'm feeding, like this globalized world by designs that, we're just creating more and more, which is like, I don't know. I feel like people who believe more in the arts and crafts, like everything mass produced, like just creating more trash in the world in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is the culture of like
Mm.
the disposal, everything that's just like temporal.
Yeah.
Where hand produced or craftsmanship's like atemporal. It's just like forever, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
But
Yeah.
I'm like even it's been made. I'm like for anything, even it's been made. I'm like people still need to like keep making it better or like
Yeah.
keep in the perfect conditions like in the next decades. That's also like the time and the thing you need to think about. You actually put into the investment.
Yeah. Cool.
And it's also part of like the adding more content to the story of
Mm.
that product.
Yeah.
Because like if you're gonna especially when you're going to buy some second-hand stuff, you can see all the all the scratch or like for example like the scratch from the last owner.
Yeah.
But some of the people will probably just write on the story how this scratch came from, something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm like if I just crash my iPad, I'll probably just throw it away. I'm not gonna restart it anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, that was a very good discussion.
So it's like, should I just pause it?
Bye. Yeah.
Bye. Bye.